Hello folks, it's your boy Cray Bug, aka Dean Big Brother Almighty, back again with another watch review. This time for your viewing enjoyment I have the San Martin 6105 homage to a Seiko 6105 that arrived here to me 2 days ago. And as I suspected and hoped, this watch is absolutely amazing. I reviewed the San Martin homage to the SBBN015 in the previous review. Be sure to check that out. But I said that to myself that when I got this one, if it definitely passed muster, I would make an informational video. Now, this watch, as you can see already by the loom is crazy, but we'll get to that. This watch, in my opinion, is a one-to-one exacting homage to the Seiko version, the original Seiko version of this watch. Now, people use the word homage, replica, and copy interchangeably, but for me personally, I think the word homage aptly describes this watch. Any watch where great care is taken to stay true to the original specs, materials if at all possible, and have a respectful rendition of something that's probably much more expensive, or maybe you might even make it a tad bit better. That's an item that you use the word homage to describe, or you associate the word homage with. As you can see, this watch also has an sapphire anti-reflective double dome crystal. As I tilt it, you can see the blue hue in the watch. It's just absolutely gorgeous. It definitely has wrist presence. I have actually, as I suggested in my other video, affixed it to a strap code. Actually, this is not a strap code, a strap code type super engineers bracelet that I got off of Amazon for the insane price of 20 bucks. This is a 20 millimeter bracelet. And one thing I didn't mention in my other video, which I really like about this bracelet, is that it stays flush. So when you look at this watch from the side, the way the links are designed, it stays flush to the case back. I kind of like that, because it makes the watch wear better and fit more comfortably on the wrist. Wow, even in the daytime you can still see that loom, and I just basically took this watch off of my wrist to review it. It stayed true in every sense of the word. The minute, hour, and second hand are just like the Seiko 6105, with the only exception with this watch is the depth ratio. This depth reading is 300 millimeters, as opposed to the 6105 originally was a 150 meter water resistant watch. I think the subsequent versions bumped it up to maybe 200, but San Martin has gone the extraordinary length of actually making this particular watch 300 millimeters, which is insane. I'm never going saturation diving, so I'll take their word for it. But as far as the indices, if I had an original Seiko 6105 to display next to it, you could see the true reproduction in this watch. This watch is very beautiful. I got this off of eBay. As I mentioned in my other video, eBay seller, his name is Jason. His eBay store is TWAF4469, I believe. And I paid $230 for this watch. $250 with tax, because New York is now one of the states where online purchases are actually taxed. But still, all in all, this is a good deal. Now, just a little bit of history on the Seiko 6105. Following the production of the 6217, which is commonly referred to as the 62 Mas, Seiko, which they produced that watch in 1990s, I think from 1970 to 1977. It was in fact water resistant to 150 meters, as I said. It has a really cool wrist presence, the Seiko 6105, and it's on par with the very high-end dive watches like the Omega 300 and the Rolex Submariner. The 6105 was very popular during the Vietnam War. It was very popular with military personnel. This watch is also referred to as the Willard, which is a reference to Martin Sheen's character in Apocalypse Now. It is one of the most recognizable of all of the Seiko divers because of the case shape, which is what originally became the Seiko turtle, right? So if you look at this case shape, it actually looks like a Seiko turtle, but same dimension, slightly bigger. The crown is at the 4 o'clock position, and it has the crown guards are very unique on this watch. It's very responsive. This watch also has a 120 click bezel, which as you know is a little bit more than the Seiko 6105, which has a 60 click bezel, and it's protected by this bulging crown guard. The case movement is the 6105 Seiko movement, thus giving its name. It has a coinage bezel, and it has the proprietary Seiko. The original 6105 had the proprietary Seiko Harlex crystal, which, as you know, is very prone to scratches. And I personally don't like the Harlex crystal. Some of my Seiko watches that I have not swapped out the crystal because I don't plan to be bumping my watches into doors and metal and things of that nature. So some of them I have not replaced the crystal, but if I had a choice, I would definitely go with sapphire every single time. The dial has a beautiful matte black finish on it, which is very beautiful. That 6105 movement is 17 joules, I believe, with 21,600 beats per hour. Comes on a waffle strap, and if I had one, if you could find one, they are quite expensive. I would appreciate it, definitely, for sure, but I decided to go with the next best thing, and I have nothing but praise for this watch. I highly, highly, highly recommend it. Interestingly enough, I received an email yesterday from Gnomon in Singapore, where Seiko has actually reissued the 6105, but they're referring to it as the SBDX031 or the SLA033. It is in their estimate is a 1-to-1 ratio of the 6105. It's 45 millimeters wide, 200 millimeter water resistant, which is up from the 150 meters as I spoke about. It has a Zaratsu bezel, which refers to the finish on the case. You really find that finish on the high-end Grand Seiko models, but Seiko has decided to put that on the reissued SBDX031 or the 6105. It has a 8L35 movement, which is super dope, and it also has a 50-hour power reserve with a movement like that. They have limited it to 2,500 pieces only, and it retails for, I hope you're sitting down for this, $4,360. That is the retail price. That's the suggested retail price that Seiko is suggesting, or that's how much it's selling for at Gnomon. So if it's selling for that price on Gnomon, that means Seiko wants much more for that watch, because their watches, you get a little bit of a discount in the pricing. So you can buy that watch reissued 2019. You can find an original 6105, which is probably not going to be in great shape, for anywhere between, I don't know, $1,500 to $2,000 depending. Or you can get your hands on one of these San Martins homage to the 6105 for $250. Now, across the room, you would not be able to tell that this is not a 6105. It has amazing wrist presence. It is an absolutely beautiful watch. You have the San Martin sign crown. Let me see if this can focus. And it has that San Martin shark logo on the back, which I really, really like that. It's raised 3D embossed sapphire crystal. Really, 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 really nice. Now, what I did today is I actually have along with me my San Martin homage to the SBB N015 tuna. So you have a side-by-side comparison of these two watches. I did a watch review on this watch about a week ago, but I have the two of them together with me today, and they both equally are beautiful. Just absolutely beautiful watches. Highly, highly recommend them for sure. In addition to have bought my San Martin tuna, I actually have my Seiko turtle. Now this is the SRP 773, I believe. Blue finish, very beautiful watch. And as I said before, the 6105 is the same case shape, or the turtles, the current turtles as we know them today, started off as Seiko's 6105s. With the exception of the crown guard, as you can see, San Martin stayed true to the way the crown guard is on the Seiko 6105. So you can see that it's different. The Seiko SRP 773, the crown guards are not as protective of the crown itself. It's not recessed into the crown guards at all. So it kind of protrudes out, still at the 4 o'clock position, but not as pronounced. Now, I don't recall offhand, but I think I might have paid $400 for this watch. Got this from Long Island Watches. Shout to Mark for selling me this watch. It's always a pleasure doing business with them. And I have it sitting very splendiferously on a BluShark NATO strap. Shout out to Joe and Christine at BluShark. They are they are my go-to NATO strap manufacturers or sellers. They have some amazing straps. This is a seatbelt type texture to this particular NATO. The keepers. Wait a minute. The keepers. I'm trying to hold the camera at the same time. I mean my phone. The keepers are beautiful, polished, so it matches the case of the turtle. And this is a beautiful watch. Like I said, Long Island Watch can set you up pretty with one of these. Get in touch with Mark. He'll definitely classy guy, very professional, very knowledgeable. He's got a string of YouTube videos where you can learn a lot, as I have. And I just bought that and bought my Seiko in comparison to my San Martin. Now, some people may say, you know what, there is no comparison between, and you get no argument from me on that. However, you would be doing yourself a disfavor if you had the opportunity to not check this watch out. If you know someone who has one, ask them if you can borrow it for like a second, just to take a look, to verify everything that I've said. Or you can take my word for it and hit up Jason on his eBay store and give a look. You know, Give a look. I definitely would not suggest that, that this watch is in any shape or form better than an original Seiko 6105 with that particular movement. By the way, this has an NH35 Seiko movement in it. So San Martin actually used a Seiko movement, right, to put in their version of a homage to the same manufacturer that they got the movement from. Go figure. Most people, that's crazy to me, but they upped the game by putting this domed sapphire AR blue reflective crystal in it, and it makes the watch just absolutely beautiful. 300 millimeter water resistant, 300 meter water resistant. Nice. Very, very nice. Not to be outdone by the Seiko SRP 773, which is part of their Prospects line, but a solid stand-in. Solid stand-in. So again, hope you enjoyed this video. Tried to be as informative as I could without talking you guys to death. And if you like the video, if you like the watch, please comment, subscribe, hit the notification button, and we'll see you guys soon.